Okay, we'll start over. I've been talking for a minute now. Hi everyone. It is week 113 because week 113 last week didn't happen because we didn't have enough bandwidth to go live. So we're gonna do it again. It's week 113, and I'm officially home from Vienna, Austria. It was quite an epic trip, and but it was so much fun hanging out with Sully Girardi over there and her studio and seeing all of the wonderful sights of Vienna. And of course, we ate our way through the country. We had a cooking class. We went and had Wiener Schnitzel, and of course, strudel. Can't go to Austria without having strudel. However, I did skip the soccer tour, so maybe next time. But there were plenty of pastries. Not every day, but I tried. It wasn't for lack of trying that we did not have pastries every day. But anyway, so it was just so much fun. If you're following me on my personal Facebook page, just to fill in a little bit, it did take me 35 hours to transit from Vienna, Austria to Cleveland, Ohio. It should have been so simple. It was a nonstop from Vienna to Toronto and then a quick jaunt from Toronto to Cleveland. But of course, if you are watching the media, you'll know that didn't happen. It was a huge debacle at the Toronto airport, and it was just delay after delay. And I wanted to take just a moment to explain what I meant by the border was closed. Wait, the US border closed? What the heck? When did that happen? Well, the thing is, what people fail to understand is when you're traveling internationally, there are a lot of countries like Canada where when you come in or when you go through there, US immigration actually happens in that country. It doesn't happen here in the US. So once you cross through that immigration, you don't have to do it again once you cross the physical border. So it's really a figurative border that happens there. And we were there for so long that they closed the office, which means the border's closed to us, which means we cannot cross and we can't go to the other side to make our connecting flight. Yeah, seriously. Even though I had a 8 hour layover, which because of the first delay, I was delayed by 4 hours before I even left Vienna. Then I got to Toronto, with I don't know, like 3.5 hours left, something like that. I thought, oh, plenty of time, no big deal. Well, it was one cluster after another. So the first security checkpoint where you put your baggage through your carry-on baggage, like you do at any U.S. airport, you got to put it through the conveyor and let them see it, blah blah blah, because you are technically entering U.S. territory. Well, apparently their conveyors died and it went down to one or two belts for thousands of people, and it took hours just to get through that part. Then you get to the next part, next staging area we'll call it, and you got to wait for your bags to be processed, the ones that were checked in on the airplane. So while standing there, we waited and waited and waited, and it would seem that there were some computer issues. So even though my ticket scanned in and told me to wait in that area until my name came up, at some point, like a couple hours later, it all of a sudden scanned and told me I needed to see customer service. Now, with less than an hour to go before my connecting flight, I got in line, a line that was looking a lot more than an hour long. And of course, by the time I get even close to the counter, they make the announcement that immigration is closing down and that we will not be able to pass. So, thus, I was stuck in Canada. And they pushed us out of the airport, had to go through Canadian immigration, get a hotel room. Thank goodness the airline did comp the hotel room. And anyway, so go through all that and to return the next morning to finally go through immigrations or customs border protection, right? By the way, it's a new name. It's no longer Customs Border Patrol. It's Customs Border Protection. I thought that was sort of interesting. So CBP had to cross through there, but they said no. Suddenly my bags were lost and I could not pass. And that's where the problems, well, that's not where my problems began, but that was about the middle of the problem Well, round and round we went. They finally certified me to cross without my bags, only to find out that my flight was canceled. So another 8 hours we went from 6 o'clock in the morning till 2:30 in the afternoon for my next flight. And of course, that flight was delayed by another hour on the plane. It was great. It was really great. Yeah. So that's why it took 35 hours to transit from Vienna to Cleveland. So lesson learned, never fly through Toronto, and apparently talking to enough people, that seems to be a real thing. On the way there, the other lesson learned, never fly through Charles de Gaulle unless you are staying there. Do not transit through there. I also heard that Frankfurt is another challenging airport. So just a side note. So anyway, then the other lesson is probably skip Air Canada if you can, because from what I'm hearing, Air Canada is very challenging to transit with. So, and that they are notorious for losing bags. Yeah. So the bags finally came. When did they finally come? A day later? Something. Anyway, seriously, can't even remember. The last 30, I've been home for, I think, 35 hours. We haven't been home 48 hours yet. Oh, so I've been home 40 hours. So it's all a big jumble. But they also, FYI, lost my bags on the way there. I know. Go figure. Anyway, yeah, my transit there took 24 hours because of delays and other debacles and so on and so forth. But we made it, and the trip was great. The weather was perfect. We had rain on one day, and it was sprinkling at best, which is just fine with us because, during this time of year, it's very questionable how good the weather was going to be, and it might have just rained the entire time. I was there a couple extra days, and while we were at dinner on the last night that I was there, there was a major downpour, but hey, again, lucky us, it only rained while we were inside eating, so it was perfect. I even had the time to take a hike. That was epic too. Long story short, yes, Q got lost on with the train system, and we didn't get to where we were intending on going, but we made the best of it, and we ended up hiking in Peyerbach, Austria, which is about over an hour south by train of Vienna. So we were supposed to take an 8-kilometer hike up a mountain, but we got lost because the trail was not as well marked as we had hoped. By the time it was all said and done and we were back at the train station to go back to the city, we had hiked more than 18 kilometers. So it was like 12 miles. Anyway, my ass hurts, but it was a good hurt, and we were really thrilled to see all of the sights, and the view was just absolutely amazing. So I will post the pictures when, I take a deep breath and move on with my life. But anyway, that said, I'll post it on Facebook, and you'll see that there. And we are looking forward already to the December trip in, December 1st through the 8th. There's only one spot left. If anyone wants to join us, you can find it at theurbanbeater.com, or you can just reach out to me and we can get you on the list. Just as a side note, Sully and I are planning another metal immersion Vienna for next year. We're talking about either spring again or winter. We haven't exactly decided, but we're probably going to take a little query and see what everybody thinks. And so we'll go from there, and I'll announce that, of course. Anyway, so what you're about to see is a studio tour and interview with the Goldsmith Museum. The owner, proprietor, also a traditional bench worker, and also our instructor, who happens to be an American. You'll learn all that. And looking at the studio and the space that we are in and what we'll be doing again in December. So say hi, Titus. Say hi. I know. So anyway, without much further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn myself off and turn on the video. I hope you enjoy it. It was a lot of fun being there. One other thing. On Friday, we're having a Zoom along. I'll post that link tonight for the Zoom. And then I'll be back next week. And we'll see whether or not I post Sully's interview of her studio. At some point, that will get posted. Okay? Thank you for hanging out, and we'll talk to you guys later. In Vienna, Austria, at the Goldsmith Museum. I know, we're here visiting Suli. I've got all our friends with us. They left me already. They've already gone off to buy tools, and you know how we feel about tools. So everybody left us, and so I'm here to do a studio tour in Vienna. This is the director, owner, and what else are you?
Just boss.
Boss, okay, of the Goldsmith Museum. Now, I'm not saying it in German, but I will ask him to say it for me because I'm not going to botch any German today. So, because, you know, I'm not going to do that. Anyway, so how do you say it in German?
For what?
The Goldsmith Museum.
Das Wiener Gold- und Silberschmiedemuseum.
See?
This would be in German.
See? Not going to try it. This is where we are. And tell us where you're located.
We are located in Vienna. In the 9th district, which is a very nice university district in a building made up in 1875. So it's
wow.
a quite heavy old building, so quite suitable for a museum,
Okay.
I guess. So, and we are a handicraft museum on the first hand, and the second hand, of course, we try to show interesting stories of and about jewelry.
Okay. And how long have you been here?
It's about 6 years we started here, 6 years ago. And we appreciate the place because it's quite suitable for what we want to communicate.
But that's the location, but your museum has been here longer.
The museum, you're right, it's much older. We started in 1978, before my time. And I came to be the, let's say, organizer of the museum since 2003.
So how did you come into it?
As a troubleshooter.
Wait, and you keep saying we, so it was started by whom?
Was started by two guys. One was a director of a school for Goldsmith, and the other one was a quite famous silversmithing firm. And the silversmithing firm, the guy had the building and the money, and the director had the knowledge, so they stuck together and started a handicraft museum about the goldsmith history of Vienna.
So it started off as more of a historical
Right.
thing, and then when did it become a school?
No, the school was founded independently. I found out, I was teaching at the school for apprentices in Vienna, and we found out that this education was not anymore suitable for the economic and social situation. So we found a way of adult education to make it possible for adult people to study goldsmithing as a handicraft. So not apprentices from 15, 16 years old in a firm, but the concept was a school, which is, I find, internationally quite well known, but it was new in Vienna.
Oh, interesting.
So this is the second part of my life, and I put this together here 6 years ago.
Wait, so the first part of your life was...
No,
So this is your second part, so what was the first part?
The first part was I'm a goldsmith. So
Okay.
I'm a jeweler. I'm a manufacturing jeweler. I don't know how to express it.
Yeah, I understand.
And
So you work for a bigger company?
no, I'm self-employed.
Oh, okay.
Since 1991 as a master of goldsmithing, as we say in Austria. And I started this career very happy and glad and with stars in my eyes. And of course it was a bit naive because you have an economic situation, you have to not only become an artist, but you have to become an entrepreneur.
An entrepreneur and an engineer?
Yes, a multi-talent guy. And in 2000 I started teaching. In 2002 we started with the lecturer of this, I call it Academy for Jewelry Crafts and Technology. And since 2003, I'm responsible for the museum.
Okay.
So this is a development of my career.
Sure, and actually it's very similar to me, right? So I started here, and the next thing you know, you do this, and and it just keeps sort of going this way. But what made you choose to teach? Because a lot of people just make and they don't teach, right? And what's the transition?
On the first hand, I was asked if I would like to teach in a single lecture for master courses. And I said, oh yeah, it would be interesting, because if you only work on your own workshop, you might become more narrow in your sight and become more, how to say, not solid, but just one person, being just one person.
Yeah.
And
solitary,
right?
Yeah.
Thank you. And I like to communicate, as you might get the impression.
We're loving this, by the way.
And so it was a combination of suspiciousness, I say, or I would like to know how it works, and of communicating about the processes of building up nice pieces, which is kind of multiplying your own artistic work, because if you organize the producing of original, funny, arty pieces, it's each of those little things coming up by my pupils is a part of myself.
So basically,
it's a multiplying of my artwork.
Wait, so basically you were cultivating your own experience.
In that way,
yeah,
yes.
And so that you can grow as an artist, a technician, a jeweler, whatever you want to call it. So
yes.
you actually were nurturing yourself through the process of teaching.
Yes.
See, I think that's fantastic. And there seem to be a little bit of questions like, why would I do something like this? Because I know other people have asked me, it's like, why are you going to Vienna and taking a class to make a band? It took us all day to make a band. Why? I learned so much. I learned so much today. I learned all these little tips and tricks, and yeah, I'll get to it and I'll show you guys later. But anyway, so, everybody you learn from, hopefully you pick up a little bit, and as an instructor, you bring it into yourself. And the same thing when you teach something, so somebody will go, oh, but I'm doing it this way, and you look at how they do it, and you're like, oh, maybe that's smarter, and then you bring it into yourself too. Absolutely. And then it keeps growing and growing.
In my first week being a teacher, I was told by my dean, remember, the teacher learns the most. Yeah. Because teaching is, you can't tell somebody anything. You have to think about it first. If it's right, if it's wrong, how to express what is the proper way. If you're good. Hopefully all of us are good teachers. But then in response, you can go back in your own workshop and do it a different way. Because when you're teaching, you are supposed to bring it to teach the proper, exact, perfect way. And when you go back in your own workshop, you refine. You can't go this way. Yeah. You have to do it properly. So this is the funny thing about teaching. Yeah, sure. So anyway, that was just a quick introduction, and we're going to take a tour of this Goldsmith Museum, and I'm going to show you the studio that we worked in today. And our instructors are still here, and I'm going to do a quick interview with them too towards the end of this. They're cleaning it up and making it look really nice because we like it to look nice around here. Yeah. It's so Austrian. Anyway. I'm very proud of that, because if you have many pupils going around all the day from the morning to 1 o'clock in the afternoon, then you have a break and other people are coming in, and then the next troop is riding in. So you have to be very tough in the point of cleaning up. So
I'm very I like to clean a lot, and I like to keep everything very organized. As they all know that it sort of freaks some people out, but hey, here we are. So I appreciate that, absolutely. Okay. So all right, so I'm going to stop here, and then we get up and do.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to start from the beginning here, and we're entering the library of the museum. You can say hi.
Hi, welcome to the library. So I start the tour always on this side, on this place, to show the area where we say is a social area, which means in the workshop the students are not allowed to eat and drink. So this is a place to meet each other and to chat and to talk in the breaks.
And then, of course, while you're sitting here chatting and talking, you get to admire all these wonderful, what can I
Old
say?
things.
Old things. And actually, look at this. We even have, well, that's hard to see, so I'm going to move that out. We even have old crucibles. Yes.
Yes. This is from a silversmithing firm, which means they have the big tools and quite similar, but the Goldsmith has it in a smaller version. So it's nice to show because you can see it from afar.
Yep. And how old are some of these pieces?
Those the tools, I would say, are approximately 50, 60, 80 years. Hard to say because the kind of tools always keep the same.
Right.
This cutlery is quite old. This is at least 19th century, and you see quite nice in the middle here for salad. The what is mother of pearl?
Mother of pearl.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I always like to introduce here the different specializations of goldsmithing, like the chain maker, the box maker, the maker of cutlery, all different specializations. And the hollowware, you would say in English,
Yeah, hollowware.
is made by a different kind of silversmith. So for nowadays people coming to the museum, it's rather unexpected that there are so different specializations in just one kind of education.
Sure. I did, by the way, ask if we can do this for the ladies who are coming in December.
Yeah.
And no, not in one day. Okay.
Not
so,
one day.
So those who are thinking potentially we might be able to do something like that, some, bowl making, the answer is no. All right. So this is a wonderful piece. I was admiring this before, but anyway, that's just me. Okay, so then we're going to work our way through to the other rooms. All right, tell us what we're seeing in here.
This is the heart of the museum, central room of the whole area, which means here are the special exhibitions located. In this box here you see jewelry pieces from a female goldsmith from the beginning 20th century, Elfriede Beerbalg. And she was born in 1900 exactly, and died in 1987, and was goldsmith from 1920 till 1980, so it's quite a long time. She was the first female silversmith and in Vienna.
Oh, wow.
And the special interesting thing, if you know the Wiener Werkstätte, which was our part of Jugendstil, how to call it, Art Nouveau.
Oh, Art Nouveau.
Art Nouveau. And the Viennese very important or famous firm was Wiener Werkstätte, and she started there. So it's a quite interesting career which took place, and we could show some pieces of her work.
Beautiful.
This is another exhibition we have at the same time, and it's the history of jewelry making in Vienna from the 50s, and it was the question, what style can we speak about, the Viennese style of jewelry making in Vienna especially. And if you keep in mind that the 50s were a time shortly after the Second World War, Austria was quite encapsulated, you might say, and so there was a specific style to find out. Here you show the jewelry examples from the 80s, from the 80s, 1980s.
It's funny because I recognize that bracelet.
Yeah.
Very 80s.
Down here we have the newspapers or the jewelry papers with the people. And so if you're not familiar with jewelry history, you find absolutely clear and at once the time.
Yeah.
When you look at the people.
When you look at
it's typical,
old magazines.
Yeah, fashion is typical. And in the 90s, where we are now, the jewelry is not bound on a style in Vienna, but it's international. You look it up in the internet and you're not anymore questioning if it's Viennese or not, so it's internationally. These are the 20s, or how to say it? The
2000s.
The 2000s. And try to show that from this time on anything goes.
Yeah.
So different materials, different forms. It's not anymore fixed to gold jewelry like it was in the 50s. Yes, this is my beloved workbench from the 19th century. It's approximately 1880. And a good example to illustrate the differences between working once and now.
Yeah. I love the workbench because you have 4 people who can sit here. It's like a commune, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what is this? I've been intrigued about this.
I don't know the expression in English, but it's called Schusterkugeln. So the shoemaker's glass ball, so to say. And I have
What do they use it for?
just keep in mind that the light source, electricity or gas, just started in 1900.
Right.
So before 1900, you have other sources for light. For instance, oil lamps or something. They were placed, I might show it here, in the middle. Yeah. So in the middle, you have one source for light, and all of the places for the goldsmith, in this case 4, you have 4 such glass balls filled with water. And
and it reflects the light.
they are not really,
No?
it breaks the light. So you have in the midst the source, and the whole lens you have here is breaking the light and focused on your wooden piece here. How do you call this one?
This is a bench pin?
Bench pin?
Bench pin.
Wonderful. So it was focused on the bench pin. I have my mobile phone is not here, so otherwise I could show it to you.
Oh, yeah, and I'm on the mobile phone, so that won't work. But I need one.
Shall I catch one? Want to see?
I want this for my house now. How wonderful, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
I just have 3, and they are quite breakable. One of those is borrowed to another museum, and these 2 I really take care of.
Yeah, that's an amazing. Wow, that is an amazing piece. I had no idea. I was expecting something completely different. Yeah. And you can also see here, this is for the gas, right?
Yes, but it was fixed in the 20th century afterwards. So the workbench, the table is much more older. And this was fixed, I guess, in 1920 or later.
Oh,
just
interesting.
Afterwards.
Oh, so this workbench was created first, and then they put in the gas later.
Exactly.
Wonderful. Do we want to go in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shall I go forward?
You go first. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So, now
this is the
you enter the blue workshop, we call it. So it's not very difficult to detect why. So everything we have here, and we can color it, we color it blue. Like the blue help, for instance.
Yeah, even the tools, so that they know where everything goes. Talk about that organization that we love so much. And you can see how many people in here.
Yes, it's 10 people. One is the trainer is sitting on this place, because here is the control about light and gas. So the central elements you need to fix gold.
Oh, so it's one gas tank that's feeding for everybody.
Exactly. And this one lasts about 3 years, so we don't use that much.
Wow. Did you hear that? That tank lasts for about 3 years, because they don't use that much here, which is amazing.
Because it's only, we use it very often, but if you have this in mind, the flame is at that size. You don't solder all the time.
Right.
But if you solder, it's not that much gas you use.
Right. Okay. So this was custom made for you, clearly.
Yes, I designed it.
It's wonderful. I really enjoyed it today, working there. I was like, wow, something to consider.
Yeah, I liked it very much to construct it because it's very soft here, no edges. And the most important thing, if you sit here, your neighbor is around you, but you can see the other person on the other end. And it's just, so it's a very
communicable table.
Table. That's a
I'm not-
deeper sense, yeah.
I'm not sure that's the right word either, but anyway, yes, you're well. But see, I always think it's important to create community, and because our niche is so small, and so working independently is never fun. So it's nice to have a lot of people, and when you have the opportunity to sit in a room with a lot of people,
Yeah.
it's nice to be able to see each other work and talk and show and share and inspire.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what's the deeper sense of this thing. And it should be made of wood, something water, something you like, no steel.
Instead of metal, yeah. I love it. So this is the blue room. Oh, and look, and of course, everywhere you go, there's all kinds of examples from the past.
This is from the museum for illustrating engraving.
Engraving.
And these are made for the school. You probably find it here. The numbers. This is for teaching to say which point you fix first, and then second, and then third.
Okay, so I heard that you did engraving. You're doing engraving by hand.
Right.
No, what is it called? Pneumatic. You know.
Not hydro,
But yeah, so it's all simply like with a graver like this by
yes.
hand.
First, the
Okay.
traditional way, and if you go for it, of course you take the pneumatic.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
it's the
Yeah.
same word, pneumatic.
Yeah,
or
pneumatic.
Run by air.
Yeah, exactly. Which I've done. So here, this is the red room.
Red room sounds very, very dangerous.
It
But
does.
it's just to differentiate between the two workshops, so that the students always know where to go. And for the lectures. This is the larger room, so the table is a little bit larger than the other one. And here we teach goldsmithing, the basic program, and silversmithing techniques. And for that we need more space, because when all these wooden blocks were put forward, and all these blocks one is sitting and forging.
So it's the same
forging
thing
techniques.
as what we use tree stumps, but
Exactly, but they
his are much
split
more
always.
elegant.
I don't like them, they split always.
Oh, do they? I've never
Yes.
seen one that's split. So how funny. But yeah, his are much more elegant than ours.
Of course, it's a school, so you have not enough space for many of them.
Yeah,
So therefore, this
they're modular.
square shape is suitable for storing.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So, and then there's the kitchen? No, not kitchen.
Not kitchen.
Lunchroom.
Not. On the plan, it's theory 2, but we don't use it, so it's a lunchroom.
You know, we're always using our space. So that is that it?
No, we have theory 1. So theory is part of education, and therefore we have a theory place you can enter separately, so nobody disturbing. And this is our theory room with special light for education in gemology. You need really bright light, and of course for drawing, and you need a perfect light situation for that.
Oh,
So
okay.
therefore we have a very, a very good light system here.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And you can change if you have a theory about something very dry in the PowerPoint presentation, you reduce the lighting so you have the beamer space to and you can
Yeah,
see
projector.
what you're projecting onto the wall.
Fantastic.
And of course the traditional good old how do you call it?
Blackboard.
Blackboard, which is always green, the blackboard.
It used
and this
it used to be black.
It used to be black.
It used to be
Okay.
black. It's green now.
It's green now. Okay.
Or a
Sorry for that.
chalkboard.
Yeah.
Is-
It's smoother and friendly to the eyes. So it's not
Yes.
black, it's green. And this is now from last week style. How to call it? Style history of jewelry styles.
Okay.
This is the
So that's what
Art
we're.
Deco, Art Nouveau, Jugendstilo. So
Yeah.
it's in German, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Well, some of you guys get this. So here's the beautiful entry. Yes, it's up one floor. It was not fun for Janet, but in an old building.
Yeah, downstairs, this one is my first room. I made it when I was 8 years old.
Oh, wow.
It's not signed, so I'm not saying, here I am, and it's a great work from Alfred Römer. But it's a funny thing, so I still have it, and I put it there. It's not so expensive.
That's okay.
For big exhibitions, the big stuff is coming there with a couple of €1,000.
And that's it. Here we are back inside. Okay, I'm gonna flip this around. Let's see. Did I flip it around? Okay. Hi, we're back, and this is Kira. She was one of the instructors today. Patina, who was here earlier, had to leave. Lo and behold, when they were introduced, I thought for sure she was German.
Austrian.
Or Austrian, I'm sorry. Oh, thought she was Austrian, and then we get to, I'm like, wait, you're an American. What the heck? So, Kira is an American. She was born in
Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Boston. Okay,
Yep.
and you grew up there.
Yep.
And then 4 years ago you moved here.
7 years ago,
7
I
years.
moved here.
You moved here. Her mother is Austrian, and she is from Vienna.
Exactly.
So is she here? She's here now.
No, she still lives in the United States, though she will be moving here a month from tomorrow.
Oh, how exciting! Are you excited?
No, it's fine. No.
Okay, we won't get into the personal
Very,
stuff.
very excited.
We won't get into personal stuff. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I just wanted to do a really quick to introduce you for some of you guys who are going to be here. More than likely, this is going to be your instructor who's coming in December, because I really did love this experience, and I thought it was a great day. I know it was really simple, and we only made a band, but there was a lot of information shared because the experience here is a very, very traditional, back to basics, from the very beginning, how to do this.
Yeah.
And Kira was wonderful. She was very thorough with all the information and everything that we were doing. I mean, yeah, I get it. You guys all know how to file, you all know how to scan, but there's a special way in which she did it. It's a different way. And a lot of what we do, or a lot of what I've done with learning overseas or going to places like this, is to learn how everyone else does it. Because I think it's important for our experience, and I think you would agree,
Absolutely.
for your personal experience, to learn from different people, to learn from different places, because they all do something different. And I was telling Kira earlier, she showed us how to saw, and I said, yeah, that's how you saw here, but did you know in Asia they actually saw a completely different way? And even she didn't know that. And It's like, maybe you'll try it next week when you're in your own bench, how that works. But it's a completely different experience, and every experience brings something to the table.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit, how did you get into jewelry?
So to be honest with you, I told the group this during our introductions. I got into jewelry as a kid, beading with my best friend in the entire world. We would spend afternoons just kind of crafting.
You did know that beading is a gateway drug.
A gateway jewelry.
A gateway drug.
It turns out to be the case for me as well. My father's cousin has a bead and yarn store down in New Jersey, and she also really helped me find interesting tools and just kind of find a way to explore this medium. And the older I got, the, I guess, more intricate things got as well, because you're interested in, I always had a fascination with culture. I studied anthropology and geography in college. And jewelry expression and adornment was also just how I, first of all, expressed myself, but got to know different cultures traveling the world. And the more intricate it got, the more I realized that, wow, everyone says if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. And this is actually what I really enjoy to do. And
So you've been playing for the last 7 years, is what you're saying. You haven't worked at all.
Those words are being used against me now.
Yes, I'm loving this. Right?
But yeah, that's pretty much it. And I do love this, and a clear distinction between working in the United States versus in Vienna is that traditional goldsmithing is really valued and more seen as an actual career that you can start, spend 40 years doing, and retire from. And that just came to be my niche, and I'm at the beginning of my 40 years, but I'm looking forward to this just being the career that I hope it to be.
So the advantage of being here for you was that this allowed you to put your arms around it and say, yes, this is my profession. Because, you know, I will tell you, this is a very common thing for me. When I say I make jewelry, people go, oh, you're a crafter.
Yeah.
And
they even put their hand up. Oh, you like to do that. That's great.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
That's sweet. What do you really do for money?
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I get that too.
Yeah.
So this is like a really, really common thing. So get it. She actually had to move to Austria to actually do this. OMG. Like to be a bona fide jeweler. Which is sort of sad in itself, you have to admit. But
admittedly it is, but I kind of have the best of both worlds here as well, because having this job, being able to have taught you today and actually learned from you as well, teaching this is an entirely different world where I still get to be in a community of jewelers and help them grow in their career, but then also have the other side of it where I can sit alone in my studio and create my lines, create my collections, and not really be alone all the time. So it is really the best of both worlds, being active and then a bit more secluded and independent.
But you know, what's interesting, what Kira's saying, is it absolutely just reflected what Alfred just told us about teaching and making and the combination of the two.
Yeah.
You know, and how you grow on both sides in many, many different ways for doing both.
Yeah.
Right? And even Alfred earlier, we were talking about how, you know, we learn from our students too, and that you take something away from that. Not only are you teaching, but you're learning at the same time. And the experience is really rich. You're really cultivating, as I would put it, you're cultivating it for yourself. I mean, as much as you're helping cultivating creativity and specialty for everybody else, it's actually very symbiotic.
Of course.
You know, which is
and
really
acting
cool.
and thinking on your feet. I mean, a few of the students today, a few of the participants today didn't simply want to do a fine polish at the end, and Q included did a variety of texture on the surface, and you just think on your feet, and it just goes to show, if you have a good idea of the tools available to you, the techniques available to you, you can just say, oh, I can do that this way, and have, you know, 3 tools in the cupboard ready to go, and you have a lot of freedom.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So I've kept Kira and I've kept Alfred here for way too long. So I'm going to end with, tell us 2 things. What do you love most about what you're doing now? And what do you love most about being here at this facility? I know I should have asked you that before we started the interview. Do you have time to think about it?
I just don't think I would say anything different. So the second question is what I love most about working at this institution, this academy, and it's also it's honestly the fact that I am with peers doing the same thing, gathering ideas, also building up my ability to actually talk about jewelry, which is kind of a skill of its own. You know, you can make it, but talking about it, interacting with people who honestly you hope would like your jewelry, wear your jewelry, kind of spread what you're working on around the world. And to be able to have that exchange with my peers here is priceless to me. Working with Bettina, we've been working together for 2 years. Sad you didn't meet her, she's wonderful.
She is cool.
Yeah, my peers, my colleagues are absolutely a top thing, though the students are, I don't know, you never expect to be so close to people and to actually build relationships along with the work.
It's amazing how great this community is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your first question was...
My first question, what do you love most about what you do?
Technique-wise, or just...
In general, like this is your profession, right? So what makes it not a job?
Well, the thing that I love most is that I'm a little, it sounds crazy to say it this way, but that I'm a little scared every day. That
Oh,
you really,
yeah, well, no, don't do how do they say it? If you don't do something that scares you every day, you don't grow. Or
there's a saying.
No, it's a saying. Do something that scares you every day. And
okay.
this is how
Even
it
if
goes.
it's the same thing every day, just in different with
Yeah.
different masks on.
Yeah. Literally and figuratively, just saying. We didn't have to wear masks today because we all sort of knew each other and we were in a small space. But anyway, so yeah, I like that.
It would actually really have to be that, because I mean, whether it's doing something like a simple band that where you don't actually grow after a certain amount of time doing them, you develop your own technique, your own speed. You have to figure out ways to challenge yourself in order to make every day a bit new, and that's the scary part actually, of just realizing that you could really stall out, knowing that you're alone in your studio and you really need to seek inspiration from others, from elsewhere, and knowing that I don't want to. I want to keep growing. I mentioned I learned a number of things from you today, from you all today. Just being able to learn something new every day, whether it's bookkeeping or the
I think what you're
various
saying
facets.
is you're being challenged every day that you are working.
Yeah.
With something new. And yes, anything new is always scary. The unknown is always scary for most people.
Yeah.
And that's what's really cool.
Yeah, and well put. Yeah.
How cool is that? For all you 20-something-year-olds, I know there's no 20-something-year-olds watching this.
I am.
She's the only 20-something-year-old in the room, heck, But you know what? We should all we should all be so blessed as to have the opportunity to grow like that. Why am I getting weepy? Oh, I've been doing that a lot. Haven't I? I need to stop that stuff. Anyway, so if only you have that opportunity but then to embrace it. To be able to go, wow, and still have the awe, right? Don't get stagnant with what you do. And I think that is a great message to end on.
Yeah.
Yay!
Thank you.
Yay! Okay, thanks everyone for joining in and hanging out with me for I don't even know how long we've been doing this. And thank you for taking the time
Welcome.
to do this. I know it was really impromptu, and I don't think they were too expecting us to do this. Like, can you just do this? Can you just do this for us? It'd be really great. Anyway, so thank you everyone for hanging out and watching this. Do give us a thumbs up. We'll see you when I get back. This is pre-recorded, and I think I'll be back. Let me think. I don't know, sometime in like June 7th, I think is the next one. I'll be back, and we'll talk some more. All right, have a good one.
Bye-bye. Whenever you come to Vienna, you're happily invited to visit us.
Did you hear that? If you're in Vienna, come by, okay? It's the Wait, say it again.
Wiener Goldschmiede Museum. Viennese Goldsmith Museum.
There it is. And the street name?
Nussdorfer Straße 3.
That's 3. That's all I got out of it.
Exactly. Brilliant.
Yes, it's amazing. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye.